Hello everybody, I'd like to talk about factoring polynomials by grouping. In order to understand this subject, let's deal with this example here. What is needed in this example is to factor the following polynomial by grouping. We have this polynomial which is xy plus 2y plus 3x plus 6. So we have a polynomial with 4 terms. If we check for the 4 terms, all xy, 2y, 3x, and 6, we don't see any greatest common factor for all of these 4 terms. But if you try to separate each 2 terms together, for example, if you try to separate the xy and the 2y and separate the 3x and the 6, in this case we have a common factor between each 2 terms. So this is the meaning of grouping. Grouping here means is to separate each 2 terms together so that for each 2 terms we can have a new common factor. So for xy plus 2y we have the common factor which is the y. So the remaining is x plus 2, and we can do the same steps for the second 2 terms. So for the second 2 terms we have the 3 as the greatest common factor, so the remaining is x plus 2. Now we have new 2 terms with a new common factor which is the x plus 2. So we have here a common factor which is the x plus 2. So we can factor out this common factor which is the x plus 2. So the remaining from the first term which is the y multiplied by x plus 2 is y. The sign is plus. And the remaining from 3 multiplied by x plus 2, the remaining is 3. So in this case, we have 2 factors. For the polynomial, we have, in order to check for the correctness of our steps, simply we can multiply these 2 factors, multiply x plus 2 by y plus 3. So simply take the first term, which is x, multiply it by y plus 3, then take the constant 2 and multiply it by y plus 3. So x times y, we have xy. X multiplied by 3, we have 3x. 2 multiplied by y, we have 2y. And 2 multiplied by 3, we have 6. So this is the result, xy plus 3x plus 2y plus 6. If you switch the location between the second term and the third term, you see that we have the same result as the same polynomial. So if you check here, this is the same as the original polynomial. So our solution is completely correct. So this is the meaning of factoring with grouping. So factoring with grouping is done in case we have a polynomial with 4 terms. If we don't have any greatest common factor in all the 4 terms, and simply we can separate each 2 terms, we can factor for each 2 term a new common factor, and then we can have, let's say, 2 factors. If one asks if we try to merge the first term, which is xy, and the third term, which is the 3x, not the second term, and merge the second term, which is 2y, and the last term, which is 6. Will we reach the same solution? Let's try together. So what we have here is xy plus 2y plus 3x plus 6. So now we switch between the second and the third terms. So we have this polynomial, which is xy plus 3x plus 2y plus 6. Let's do the same steps as previous. So again, for all of these four terms, we don't have any greatest common factor. But if we separate each two terms together, so for xy and 3x, we have here a common factor, which is simply the x. And for 2y plus 6, we have a new common factor, which is the 2. So if we bring the x as a common factor, the remaining from the first two terms is y plus 3. So we can do the same steps for the second two terms, which is the 2y plus 6. So if we factor the greatest common factor, which is 2, the remaining is y plus 3. So in this case, we have a new polynomial with two terms, and we have a new common factor, which is the y plus 3. So we can factor out the y plus 3. So this is a new factor for the two terms. So the remaining from the first term is the x, and the remaining from the second term is the 2. So after factoring this polynomial, we have two factors, which are y plus 3 and x plus 2. Let's check that these two factors are the same as the previous one. So let's return back. As you see here, we have these two factors, which are x plus 2 multiplied by y plus 3. See that y plus 3 multiplied by x plus 2 is the same as y plus 3 multiplied by x plus 2 is the same as x plus 2 multiplied by y plus 3. This is one of the properties of the multiplication operation. So we reach the same result. See, as a summary, because we reach a solution for the previous polynomial, we should reach the same solution for the second polynomial by the grouping. Let's deal with this example. What is needed is to factor the polynomial b squared plus 5b minus 4b minus 20 by grouping. So if you check for all the four terms, the b squared, the 5b, the minus 4b, and minus 20, we see that we don't have any greatest common factor, but simply we can separate each two terms. So we can merge b squared plus 5b, and we can merge the 4b, minus 4b and minus 20 together. So for these two terms, we have a common factor, which is the b, and for these two terms, the minus 4b minus 20, we have a common factor, which is the minus 4. So for the first two terms, we have the b as a common factor. So the remaining is b plus 5. And we can follow the same steps for the second two or the last two terms. So for the last two terms, if we factor out the minus 4, the remaining is the b plus 5. So now we have a polynomial with a common factor, which is the b plus 5. So we have here a common factor, which is the b plus 5. So now we can factor out the b plus 5 as a common factor. So this is the common factor. So it is multiplied by the remaining from the first term is b, and the remaining from the second term is the minus 4. So these are the two factors for the polynomials. If we try to check for our solution, simply we can multiply the two factors. So b plus 5 multiplied by b minus 4. Simply we multiply the b by the b minus 4, then multiply the 5 by the b minus 4. So b multiplied by b is b squared. b multiplied by minus 4, we get minus 4b. 5 multiplied by b, we have 5b. And 5 multiplied by minus 4, we have minus 20. If you switch the location between the second and the third terms, we have b squared plus 5b minus 4b minus 20. So we have the same as the original polynomial. So our check is correct. That's all about the factoring of a polynomial by the grouping. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.